Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and welcome to Temple Solel's Friday evening services. I'm Rabbi Efrat Aaron Zohar, and with me this evening is Cantor Israel Rosen, Robin Rosen, and Matthew Lippman on technology. And Cantor, tell us our nigun for this evening.
Lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 la 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 lai la 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 lai la 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 lai 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 la 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 lai lai la 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 lai 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 la lai 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 la lai lai lai.
Beautiful. Now we're calling on Robin to kindle our Shabbat candles. And as she does that, we can begin to enter into Shabbat time, Shabbat space, so that we too can feel the holiness of this moment.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Lai lai la 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 lai 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 la 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 lai 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 la la lai 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 la la lai lai la la lai Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav וציוונו להדליק נר של שבת, להדליק נר של שבת. לי לי la 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 לי 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 la 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 לי 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 la la לי לי la la לי.
And in case that triggered you to think that Shabbat was over, it's not. Here we continue. It's Lecha Dodi.
לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבורך תשמיענו, אל המיוחד אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם. נשוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי כי באורך, קומי אורי אורי אורי, שידברי כבוד אדוני, עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת
And we continue with Shalom Aleichem as we wish all of the beautiful, elements that come with Shabbat, that they should dwell with us, that they should stay with us, and that we should have shalom in our lives and in our hearts.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Asharet, Malachi Elyon, Mimelech Malchi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem leshalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Mimelech Malchi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni leshalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Mimelech Malchi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitchem leshalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Mimelech Malchi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitchem leshalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Mimelech Malchi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
And now we quiet ourselves. We turn within. We take a brief, deep in-breath. We feel it. Maybe you can even feel the breath inside your nostrils, filling up your diaphragm, your belly, and then breathing out. This very act, this one breath, one after another, each one slows us down. Each one gets us to pause. Each one turns off all those external stimulations so that we can get quiet. And in the quiet, we can begin to perceive that there is a quiet in the universe, a hum that resides underneath all the noise. There are many names for this sound, different traditions call it different things. Interestingly, the word in Indian traditions is Om, which of course is the last syllable of Shalom. And this is supposed to be the vibrating frequency of the universe. And when Jews do this, we connect to the oneness of all that is as we sing and recite the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam לעולם ועד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, and yet there is a better place, a promised land, and that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness. There is no way to get from here to there, except by joining hands and marching together.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. מלכותך מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע הים לפני משה ומרים, זה לי ענו ואמרו, ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, לעולם ועד. ונאמר כיפדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל, לילה 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 גאל ישראל.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up, waiting to do your will. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai porei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim.
ושמרו בני ישראל ושמרו את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, לעשות את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לעשות את השבת לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי, וביום השביעי שבת וינפל. ושמרו בני ישראל, בני ישראל, ושמרו את השבת. לעשות את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לעשות את השבת לעולם.
We pause for private prayer and take time for personal reflection.
Let's see what happens.
And now we've come to that part of our service where we put our minds and our hearts and all our spiritual energy towards wishing those in our congregational family and beyond a refuah shlema, a complete and speedy healing. Robin, who is on our list this evening?
Ann Becker, Richard Blanky, Jane Gambardella, Seth Gelwasser, Dr. Robert Greenstein, Don Harvey, Larry Jurist, Ida Kachurka, Hannah Cates, Phyllis Lewis, Elwood Powers, Sid Rabin, Michelle Robinson, Gabriella Rosenthal, Randy Shattenkirk, Michael Slotnick, Ray Strauss, Charlie Wolf, and Martin Zafman.
And those from the family of Solel who are on the Zoom with us, do you have names to contribute?
Malka Sifra, but Hana Razel, and Elka Bat Fredeli.
Mark Vesey.
And to that, I add the names Silka Frida Bat Leah, Tova Bat Esther, Hannah Bat Devora, Meir Ben Devora, Mordechai Avram Ben Esther, Chaya Sarah Bat Bashya, and Susan Tamar Chaya Bam. With all of them, we wish refuah shlema, and the Cantor recites our beautiful prayer.
מי שברך אבותינו מקור הברכה לאמותינו. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our life a blessing, and let us say Amen. מי שברך אמותינו מקור הברכה לאבותינו. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
So, one of the things that American Jews, especially Jews born after World War II, take for granted is that Jewish life is not cheap here. Jews in America are considered equal citizens with the right to protection by the government. And when Jews are harmed, our government will respond and protect us as it should for any other American. We take that as a given. But in many countries in the world, it never was and is not still. Sadly, in Europe, enlightened, first world, cultured Europe, it never was and is not still. Only 76 years after Nazis and their many collaborators massacred 1/3 of the Jewish people, there is still anti-Semitism and lots of it. This week's Parsha is a double Parsha, Achrei Mot and Kedoshim. Achrei Mot means after the death, referring to Aaron's sons, and Kedoshim, be holy, for I, the Lord, am holy. These two portions are put together this particular week. And sometimes we find that their arrival in the Torah reading cycle coincides with a major current event that links the past to the present. And that is what I believe is happening this week, and I'll explain it in a little bit. This past week, you might have read, a high court in France's justice system ruled that a lower court was correct in its verdict to declare a murderer not criminally responsible because he had consumed cannabis before committing the murder, which his defense lawyer claimed had induced a state of temporary psychosis. Several leading French thinkers have pointed out that this defense means any drunk driver, any weed smoker, or any drug user could effectively also claim temporary psychosis following their arrest for a crime. So this is definitely a flaw in the French legal system. But isn't it interesting that this excuse wasn't used successfully or upheld by a court for drunk drivers or other drug users in France? However, when Dr. Sarah Halimi, a 65-year-old Jewish woman, a retired physician, teacher, and mother of 3 children, was beaten bloody and thrown off her 3rd-floor apartment balcony to her death by her attacker, a Muslim immigrant from Mali, while he shouted Allahu Akbar during the attack and then afterwards proclaimed, "I killed the shaitan," which is a word for an evil demon in Islamic belief. That is exactly the excuse that he gave that kept him from being prosecuted for murder. And once again, after French police bungled their handling of the kidnapping and torture murder of Ilan Halimi, let's say his name, 11 years ago, and the siege of the Hyper kosher supermarket in Paris, resulting in the murder of 4 Jews, let's say their names, Johan Cohen, Yoav Hatab, Francois Michel Sada, and Philippe Braham 5 years ago, French Jews believed that their government would finally wake up and realize that they were under attack and make it a national goal to protect them. No such luck. And then 3 years ago, Mireille Knoll, who had managed to survive the Shoah, the Holocaust, only to be murdered in the same neighborhood as Sarah Halimi by her neighbor. And then after Sarah Halimi was murdered, for several months, the French government and some of the media hesitated to label the killing as anti-Semitic. This is following what is obvious to any sentient being, a clear pattern of anti-Semitism directed at French Jewish citizens. Now, eventually, the French government acknowledged an anti-Semitic motivation for the killing, probably because of the public outcry by the Jewish community and others. But in 2019, the assailant was declared to be not criminally responsible because, as I mentioned, he had consumed cannabis, which the court ruled had induced a state of psychosis. How very convenient and how strange that I have never heard of cannabis-induced psychosis here in the United States, where in many states, cannabis is completely legal and one would expect to have heard such a defense some other time. Why am I telling you about these horrible events? Why am I pointing out the murders of Jews that happened in another country? Because I want you to feel the injustice, the outrage, the unfairness, and the helplessness of the Jews still living in France. Because depending on where they live, safe neighborhoods or not so safe neighborhoods, and whether people know or can tell whether they're Jewish or not by how they dress or what they're wearing, French Jews feel like prey, waiting to be the next victim of horrific anti-Semitic violence. We in the United States are blessed to live in a country that so far still sees its Jews as citizens worthy of equal protection and justice under the law. The vast majority of government officials in all of our political parties protest anti-Semitic acts, decry violence against Jews, and support prosecution of those who do us harm. Yet the same equal protection and justice under the law is, as I'm sure you're aware, not the case for all American citizens. The murder of George Floyd and the recent conviction of his killer, a veteran police officer, have galvanized many of us to finally grasp how African Americans might feel living in these United States, where far too often they are targeted by the very people sworn to protect and defend them, those people who are integral within our legal system. And if you feel the injustice, the outrage, the unfairness, and the helplessness of French Jewry living under a legal system that at times seems hostile to them, then you are also capable of feeling the injustice, the outrage, the unfairness, and the helplessness of our fellow African American citizens living under a legal system that at times seems hostile to them. Achrei mot, this week's parsha, meaning after the death. When we experience the death of someone we know, it often wakes us up and helps us perceive things we didn't perceive before, or feel things that we didn't allow ourselves to feel before. Kadoshim, our other parsha, meaning holiness. Holiness happens when we are deeply committed to our own personal path of Jewish living and simultaneously are deeply committed to loving our neighbors as ourselves. We Jews are commanded by Torah to be holy, to keep God's Sabbaths, and not to turn to idols, as well as to leave the gleanings for the poor and the stranger, and not deal falsely with one another, and not favor the poor or show deference to the rich, but judge your kinsmen fairly. In Vayikra, Leviticus, chapter 19, verses 33 and 34, it says so clearly, when a stranger resides with you in your land, you shall not do him wrong. The stranger who resides with you shall be to you as one of your citizens. You shall love them as yourself. For you were strangers in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. And if one is supposed to behave that way to a non-citizen, how much the more so should we be treating our fellow citizens justly? One of the things we Jews pride ourselves on is the ability to think with complexity, to understand issues, be they in the Talmud or in the newspaper, with shades of gray. And the situation right now, though some people may perceive it this way, is not an us or them situation. It is an us and them situation. We must stand up for Jews and protest anti-Semitism vigorously, as well as protest injustice against our fellow citizens vigorously. That is what the Torah clearly teaches us. And so may it be our will as well as the Holy One's. Shabbat Shalom.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. nay 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 na na nay 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 na na nay 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 na na nay nay na na nay 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 na na nay 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 na na nay 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 na na nay. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן.
And we pause at this time to remember those who have passed away during this time of Shloshim. Phyllis Korenthal Blooming, wife of Rabbi Ronald Blooming, Edward Schlafer, uncle of Marcia Holmes and the brother of Barbara and Harvey Feldman, and Alan Schlafer. Rabbi Solomon Schiff, the emeritus chaplain of the Greater Miami Jewish Federation. Joseph Bulick, husband of Judith Bulick, and the father and father-in-law of Donna and Matthew Lippman, the grandfather of Jacob Lippman. Jack Keystone, the husband of Margie, the father of Lori and Bruce Friedman and Alan Keystone, the brother of Roberta and Jerry Mallon, the grandfather of 4. And Rael Gilchrist, son of the late Jack and Geraldine Gilchrist, the husband of Lourdes, the father of Keith and Alex, and the brother of Lindy, Mark, and David. We also recall the yahrzeits of those who died at this season in years past. Lillian Anker, Seymour Anker, Ira Bandel, Joseph Banks, Arthur Bernstein, Clyde Bernstein, Martha Brown, Seymour Buckhalter, Sophia Kahn, Helen Clark, Sidney Cohen, Dr. Herman Ehrlich, Pazer Feinstein, Samuel Fine, Lawrence Garfield, Stanislava Germanansky, Florence Goldstein, Norman Hamill, David Heller, Alan Holliday, Mildred Horwitz, Ann Howard, Albert Jacobowitz, Molly Catlin, Louis Kleiman, Murray Klempner, Rose Corritt, Dorothy Kravitz, Lola Kushner, Joyce Manning, Larry Meinstein, Bonnie Miller, Joseph Nadell, Max Nevis, Harry Nortman, Milton Prager, Tobin Rosenthal, Rose Roth, Pearl Sabbath, Abraham Schlein, Robert Shapiro, Sarah Spilkowitz, Irving Stein, Joseph Stahlberg, Fanny Sweetman, Arthur Teague, William Teague, and Lou Tobier. In reciting the Kaddish, we affirm our awareness of holiness in our world. Much of our experience of divine goodness, grace, and love has come to us through those whose lives have touched our own. And so we invoke the transcendent power of love and caring as together we sanctify God's name with Kaddish Yatom. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'omad yivrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uvyomechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam olamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shemei dekudisha barichu le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. May the one who brings peace in the heavens bring those same elements of shalom here to us on earth as together we say amen. Now we turn to Matthew Lippman for some announcements. And Matthew, we want to extend our own personal condolences for your loss as those heard on screen, your father-in-law.
Thank you, Conley. And as I said last week, this is the place I want to be with our family and friends during this time. So thank you again. So it's always lovely to be with everybody tonight, as we always are every Friday night. So good evening on this 11th day of Iyar. On behalf of the Temple Board of Directors, I would like to thank our Solel family and friends, as well as our global audience for connecting with us virtually and spiritually on this Shabbat evening. During these challenging times of social distancing and isolation, Temple Solel continues to be here for you. Although we are practicing physical distancing, this does not mean we need to distance ourselves emotionally. To meet these growing needs, Temple Solel has made services and other ritual observances available via live stream to all who would like to join. Temple Solel's fundamental mission is to make Judaism vital, relevant, positive, and lasting. We work tirelessly to ensure that the beauty, depth, ethics, and joy of Judaism are brought to life, not just for our members, but for all. By making Temple Solel a philanthropic priority in your life, you are not just sustaining your synagogue today, you are helping to ensure the strength of our welcoming model of Judaism for generations to come. You can always donate a few different ways. Navigate to our website and go to our donate page. Sign up for Amazon Smile, which I know we all are using. Call the temple office or email the temple and speak directly to Anita. And on behalf of Rabbi Cantor and Robin Rosen, we are kindly asking for anybody to communicate with us when someone has been healed and should not be included on the Misha Baruch list each Friday night that Robin and Cantor get. Just let us know, and we will remove that name as appropriate. So thank you for that. A couple announcements for our Tikkun Olam committee. Earth Day was this week, which I know that our Tikkun Olam committee was very active in participating in many different activities. But we are extremely excited that the third Jewish Climate Action Conference has arrived. Rabbi Katie Allen and the JCAN organizing team have worked hard to put together a broad-ranging program that explores decarbonizing homes and synagogues, soil and carbon, the voices of youth, advocacy, spiritual resilience, and anti-racism. We are striving for sessions that make the connection showing everything is connected. Jewish tradition teaches us that all of creation is sacred. Find out what you can do to make a positive impact as a partner in the ongoing creation of the world. On our website and our e-blast, there's a link to register for the third Jewish Climate Action Conference, which is to be held on April 25th. And even more exciting, a week from this Sunday, on May 2nd at 12 noon, we are having a vegan Roman Jewish cooking demonstration. Professional tour guide, and I'm sure I'm going to butcher this, but I'll try it anyway, Michaela Pavancello, close enough, who owns and runs Jewish Roma walking tours, and Chef Beta will present a vegan Roman Jewish cooking demonstration. So for all the live virtual events, you can always join us either on Facebook live stream or on our temple website at templesolel.com/live-feed. So tomorrow on April 24th at 9:30 a.m., we do have our Torah study again with Rabbi Efrat. We're always looking forward to the intellectually stimulating conversation. And Sunday, April the 25th at 10 a.m., we have our religious school meeting again over Zoom. And Wednesday on April 28th at 6 o'clock p.m., our Cantor Rosen music time. The theme is Lag Be'amar with special guest Karen Bella. And Karen actually is a Fishman-endorsed singer-songwriter and named a Spotlight Artist for Sam Ash Music Store, Long Island, New York. And also, rumor has it that our very own Robin Rosen will be teaching us a little bit about Lag Be'amar. So we're looking forward to that. Also that evening afterwards, we do have our town hall meeting, which is at 7:30. Our town hall meeting is with the Broward County Mayor and our very own Temple Solel member, Stephen Geller. Mayor Geller will discuss a variety of important topics, including sea level rise and flooding, property and flood insurance, and other issues on your mind. Temple Solel is always proud to call Mayor Geller and his wife and board member Laura Geller members of Solel. We're back again on Friday night, April 30th for Shabbat service. Another announcement for our members, and this was in our e-blast. Our annual meeting will be held on Thursday, May 27th at 7 o'clock p.m. via Zoom. We will vote on a new slate of board members and officers, approve the budget, and introduce our new senior rabbi, Rabbi Ari Plost. The current board invites those interested in joining the board or in nominating others to contact our president, Jason Block, by May 13th, and the phone number and emails listed in the e-blast. And especially members with any ideas and energy are always welcome to help guide the temple to an even ever stronger and fulfilling future. We do hope to see everybody on May 27th at the annual meeting, and hopefully in person sometime in the not too distant future. So we ask that all of you stay safe. We pray that everyone stays in good health, and a Shabbat Shalom. And back to you, Robin, Cantor, and Rabbi. All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Thank
so much,
you.
Matthew. And Cantor, I believe we have a final song.
אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נשא בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נשא בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נשא בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא בידו אף כדרוכי בעת אישן ועירה ועם רוחי גבייתי אדוני לי ולא אירא אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נשא בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא.
And now Kiddush.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא פרי הגפן.
Amen.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצה בנו בשבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו זיכרון למעשה וראשית כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש זכר ליציאת מצרים כי באנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Amen.
לחיים.
L'chaim. And now for our motzi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat